Hello, I'm making this video in order to portray to you a series of events that has happened to me in the last 10 days since about the 14th of March, and it concerns the coronavirus, and it's quite an interesting section that may interest a lot of people because it portrays what might be considerable benefit to the people who are affected by this, and it's increasing all the time, so that may mean a lot of people, and if it does, I'll be very pleased. So I'll start, and it's involved about the last 10 days. And I'm 78. I'm in reasonably good health. Just under 2 years ago I had a spat with cancer. I had some cancer removed from a rib in my chest, and it hasn't gone away, but I'm dealing with that, and we'll see how that goes. That's by the way. So otherwise I'm in reasonably good health. And what started was it was the Sunday the Sunday after the 14th of March. Well, before then, on the Friday before then, which is about 10 days of a week, last Friday, I went downtown, and I wanted to pick up my glasses from the chemist's, some new glasses. And while I was there, I went into their barbers and had a haircut. The barbers were full. There was 4 chair barbers. It was a big barbers, and it was full of people. And I had my hair cut. And then on the Saturday, I was at home, no problems. And on the Sunday, that was the same. Didn't feel any different. And towards that evening, I felt that I had some mucus in my lungs. You know, I do get this because I do cough mucus quite often. It's just one of those things. It happened years ago when I touched some stuff and I put it in my mouth, and it caused a problem with my lungs. But that's a minor thing. And on the Sunday, I thought, well, it's going to be a bit of a problem, this mucus in my lungs, so I'll cough it up. So I cough and drag it up, which I've done in the past. I coughed and dragged, and there was quite a lot there. It took quite a bit of time to get rid of it, to clear my lungs of that mucus. So that was that, and I went to bed. Thought nothing of it. Woke up in the morning, or about quite early in the morning, and I had a terrific temperature. I was hot and sweating, and I couldn't make head nor tail of it. And I thought, what's going on? I was all right when I went to bed. I coughed that mucus up. That was the only thing that happened. And now I've got this temperature, and I thought, blimey. I said to my wife, who's also in her 70s, I said, can you take my temperature? I feel bad. So she took it, and it was over 38 degrees. So I thought, crikey. And that was that. Apart from that, when I coughed, I had a dry cough. I've never had a dry cough in my life. I wouldn't know what it means, because I've always been a bit mucusy. And my cough was really dry. And I thought, well, this temperature is damn annoying, but I don't mind the dry cough. It's quite pleasant, really. And I thought, well, so the day went on, and I thought, oh, I must have the flu or something. So I just stopped in bed. It was quite high temperature, and this dry cough didn't bother me, and I didn't have to cough it. But when I did cough, it was a dry cough. And this went on through Monday and into Tuesday, and it was the same, much the same. It hadn't gone. And then when I come to Wednesday morning, I thought, hey, I woke up. I thought, hey, I feel a bit better. Oh, this thing is, whatever it is, flu, whatever it is, going. So that's grand. So I felt well enough, actually, to get out of bed and go downstairs in the warm. I was there till about 11 o'clock on the Wednesday, and I thought, oh well, I might just nip outside for just a short walk, only just about 50 yards, and come back in just for a touch of fresh air. It was quite a cool day. And so I put a coat and hat on and that, and I sort of just went outside and I walked. I didn't have to walk very far. I was only out for about a minute. Oh, wow, I'm heading for home here. I mean, I could feel myself going to feel really ill. And I thought, blimey, let's get back in the warm. And that's right down. I went back to bed. It was Wednesday. And that's where I was, by dinner time Wednesday. And while I was there, I thought, well, tomorrow, Thursday, I've got an appointment to go to the doctors because I have an injection every 3 months because got something wrong with my blood as a result of what had happened with the operation I had previously, etc. And I have an injection every 3 months. And it was coming up for the following day, the Thursday at 9:10. So I thought, well, knowing that there's something going on and that the doctors are very busy, I'll just ring them up and make sure that it's all right to appear. So I rang them up and I said, excuse me, but I'm just ringing to confirm my appointment for an injection with the nurse at 9:10. And they said, what's your name and that? And they said, yes, that's correct. And they said, are you in generally good health now? And I said, well, actually, no. I said, one of the reasons I'm ringing is that these last couple of days, I've had quite a high temperature and feeling not very well. But also, I've had a dry cough. And I said, this is unusual. I've never had one like that before. And the operative, said, oh, well, what I'm going to do is get somebody to ring you back in about an hour's time. So I said, oh, sure, I'll wait by the phone. And about an hour's time, this person rang back, and they said, oh, I wonder, could you give some more information on your medical condition at present? So I said, certainly. So I relayed what had happened to her. And she said, well, in my opinion, I think you may very well have coronavirus. And she said, so what I want you to do is this. Do not come to the surgery. Do not go to a hospital, but stop at home and isolate yourself and stick with the condition so long as you can. But if it gets too unpleasant, then what you must do is do not ring 999, do not ring 111, but go onto your computer and type in NHS 111, and then they will be able to advise you from there. So they said, and I said, oh, well, yeah, I'll do that. I said, well, what about my injection? And she said, well, that'll have to go by the by. She said, we can't do it, and you'll have to do without it for now, for the foreseeable future. So I thought, oh, well, if that's to be, that's to be. So that was Thursday. So anyway, on the Friday, I felt the same, much the same. I kept indoors because I didn't experience going out in the cold with it. And then even on the Saturday morning, it was much the same. And then as the Saturday progressed, I started to feel distinctively unwell. And this mucus that I coughed up had reappeared. I'd still got this dry cough. But only if I coughed. I didn't have to cough, but when I coughed, it was dry. So as the day progressed, I started to get distinctly worse. So I thought, well, I'll give it a cough. And instead of the dry cough, it had turned into like a different sort of cough. And it wasn't a dry cough, but it didn't, and the mucus, as I know it, which is quite a fluid sort of mucus, it's not thick or anything like that. That wasn't there. It had turned into something different, and if I can say, for want of a better word, like a gunge, which was more solid and more heavy, and it felt a little bit more uncomfortable than mucus as I know it. So I thought, hey, that's strange. So I coughed, a real sharp cough, and I managed to get some of it up. And I thought, oh, that's okay. So as the evening progressed, and I managed to get up, get into my windpipe, or I do get it up to, and then I got to swallow it because I can't get it out. and it just go down in my stomach, and the acid will deal with it anyway. So, so I done that, and then I thought, well, I got to do this quite regularly because I don't like this gunge. It seems a bit unpleasant. So about every 10 minutes, I give it a cough and drag it up, and it would go. I'd get a little bit up, and it would ease the sort of unpleasantness in my lungs. So I was doing that, and it was working. And I thought, well, I've got this, I can deal with this. And I thought, well, I'm going to deal with it because I really don't want to go to the hospital. I mean, that's just, I'm not up for that because I don't much see the point in it. You go to the hospital, it takes them ages to come and fetch you anyway, and then when you get there, you spend 3 or 4 hours on the trolley before anybody looks at you. So I thought, if you were left for any length of time, if this develops, I'd be in trouble. So I thought, well, I'll try and deal with it best I can. So I was coughing and managing to get it up about every 10 minutes, and it was working. So I got a bit blasé. I thought, well, I mean, you carry on like this, go on indefinitely, and eventually it'll cure itself. That was my attitude. So I got a bit blasé. I thought, well, I'll leave the coughing off for a bit, leave it off. And I left it off for about 40 minutes. And well, I have another cough now, and see if it works. And I coughed, and I couldn't move it. This gunge was building up, and I couldn't move it. So, crikey, that's a bit of a blow. I was a bit misguided in not being a bit more sharper off the starting blocks, And I thought, hey, I'm in a bit of trouble here now. And as I say, the last thing I want to do is to ring somebody because I know how long-winded they are. So I thought, well, can I do anything to sort of stimulate it, to really give it a push, So I thought, well, what if I breathe in and then hold my breath, but increase my muscles, stop the breath from coming out, but increase the compression on my chest muscles so that you're coiling it up like a spring, and then release it with a real hard cough. Perhaps that'll work. It's worth a try. So that's what I done. I sort of got it, and I sort of breathed in, got plenty of air, and then I locked it, so it was locked in, and then I increased the tension on my chest muscles, so I was building blood, and then I give it a cough. I could do it now, but I really don't want to, because it was really, I'll do a little one, but it was like that, but it was more than that. It actually hurt my throat when I done it, at the time, and it worked. Some of the gunge come up. I was able to grab it, bring it up through my windpipe, I suppose, like, and rasp it and get it up and able to swallow it. So that, hey, that works. So I'm not in trouble after all. Well, I am, but I'm not as much trouble as I thought I was. So I'm okay. I can possibly manage this now. But I'm leaving it a bit late in the day. But I'm going to keep going with it. So so that was that. I thought, hey, I mustn't leave it so long next time. And but this was quite nasty. The cough that I had to give was so intense. The punch to get it to go was so intense that it was actually hurting my throat, Anyway, so what I noticed was that you could almost feel the gunge. I call it gunge because it isn't mucus or phlegm. It was like almost a bit more thick, a bit more solid, a bit more sticky, and a bit more hard to get up. And I thought, well, but when I noticed that when I was doing it, you could almost feel the gunge like flow when you were pushing it. When it started to come up, you could feel it. And anyway, went on for a short while, and then I tried it like it was with the explosive cough, and it failed. And I tried and tried to drag it up, and it failed. So I tried another explosive cough, and it failed. And I thought, oh, I've hit the brick wall here. I'm stuck, you know. And I thought, well, that's it then. That's buggered that. And then I thought, well, is there anything else I can do to promote removing this gunge, for want of a better word, from my lungs? Because I started to feel my lungs were getting uncomfortable. Though I could get air through them, I could get air into them, but it was uncomfortable. And I thought, well, I noticed that sort of slight wave as you moved it. So I thought, hey, well, what if I promote that wave? You know, what if I breathe in and out, in and out? I move into simulated, but in and out. And at the right frequency to try and get that wave to develop in my lungs. I know it sounds odd, but that's what I thought. And I thought, well, if I promote that wave action in my lungs, you know, and long breaths as I could, and at a frequency that was sympathetic with to generate an amplitude, because I'm an electrician, so I know the difference between amplitude and frequency and things like that. I could generate the biggest amplitude I could, and therefore with that and the power of the harsh cough, combined with that compressing the muscles in my chest, I might be able to generate enough force to push it through. So I did. So I sort of, for want of a better way, I was sort of, don't even know, something like this. And I'd done that a number of times, 7 or 8 times, till I got that amplitude going, and it seemed to be in sympathy with my lungs. I got that going. And then on the last up breath, in breath, and as I started that, I changed it to a cough and a thrust. So I can't do it now because it hurt my throat. It was so intense. And it worked. The gunge moved, and I got quite a quantity of it up, enough to know that it had worked. Dragged it up and swallowed it, which is the only thing I could do with the damn stuff. And I thought, well, I'm still in the running here, you know. So I thought, well, now then, what I am going to do is leave it too long, like I did with just the cough on its own. I left it for about 40 minutes, whereas so after about 10 minutes or quarter of an hour, I would do that again, in and out. Then cough and thrust with my muscles, and every time I get some gunge up. And I kept doing that. By this time I was getting tired, and it was getting late in the evening over this process. And I'd done it about somewhere between 4 and 6 or 4 and 7 times. I cannot remember because I'm not keeping count of it at the time. And the gunge become less. And in the end, I'd done that, and I wasn't getting any gunge up. The gunge, I got it all up. I thought, blimey, I got it down now, where I didn't need to do the rocking action, and I didn't need to do the explosive cough, and I didn't need to do anything really, because my lungs didn't have it in it anymore. It wasn't there. By this time, it had gone midnight. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning. I was tired. I got a temperature, and I didn't feel very well. And I was pretty pleased that I got this far, and I didn't know what was going to happen because it had let me down before, and I was a bit apprehensive. And I didn't want to go to sleep, but it wasn't there. And eventually I was in a semi-reclined position. I wasn't sitting upright. I wasn't lying down, a couple of pillows behind me. So, got a tickle in my throat now. So I just lay there, and I thought, waiting, and I was actually that tired I fell asleep. I didn't want to go to sleep, but I fell asleep. And I woke up, must have been about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'd only been asleep about 3 hours, 3.5 hours or whatever. And I woke up and I thought, oh, I wonder what condition I'm in. I thought, have I got gunge in my lungs? Am I going to be able to breathe? And will I be able to get it up? And I breathed, and it wasn't there. It wasn't there. It had stopped exactly the same as it was when I went to sleep. I thought, crikey, now that is brilliant. I was very pleased. So that's what happened, and that's it. Now then, on Sunday, I went through Sunday. My temperature started to reduce. I felt a little bit better, and I didn't have any breathing problems. On Sunday night, as opposed to the Sunday before when I had to do a lot of mucus and that, I didn't have to do that. And I didn't particularly have a dry cough either. I had quite a normal. If I coughed, it was nice and dryish, but it wasn't over dry. And I thought, I feel blinking good. That was this last Sunday. It's now Tuesday. And so I thought, well, see how it goes. But I'm not going to contact anybody because they said not to, so I just haven't. And I'm as good as can be expected. I really am. At this moment, like come through Monday, it was all right. My temperature just kept on reducing, and I didn't get any more problems with my lungs. And it's gone through Tuesday now, and I've got a bit of a sore throat because of all this hacking and what that I've done in the last few days. But I'm okay. Now then, at the time that I talked to the person on the Thursday from the surgery and asked her about this thing, blah blah blah, and she said, I think that there's a distinct possibility that you've got this virus. And I said to her, how would I, and she said not to do this and not to do that. And I said, well, how would I know what I've got? And she said, well, you wouldn't know for sure whether you've got this virus, but it sounds very much like you have. But she said, you wouldn't know until you go to hospital, because at that stage then you won't be tested. Well, I never went to hospital, and therefore I'd never been tested. But I can tell you now that those symptoms, when I had them, were severe. On the first Sunday, when I coughed the mucus up on the Sunday night, and on the Monday morning, that was severe. My temperature was way up, and then through that week it gradually eased, and then on the Wednesday I went out for a walk. I come back, I didn't feel well. I rang the doctors, they told me about it, and then so it was like as if my body was waiting for something to happen. And then on the Saturday, as I just repeating what I've said now, I started to get distinctly worse, and my lungs felt uncomfortable, and I've told you what happened and the process that's done. And it's I've come through it. Now then, I'm no medical expert. My expertise is as an electrician, and I consider myself good at my job, but I'm 78, so I don't do it anymore, apart from what I do for myself and as a hobby. And as I say, I'm no expert, but I feel that I must, because of what happened, because of the unusual circumstances and the fairly unusual way as how I come round to dealing with it and the timely way in which I done it, there could be a possibility if I'd left it a bit late in any of those stages, I would have failed. But I was just fortunate in being able to adjust it as time went on to meet the situation. and therefore, because of that and the timely way and the result I had, then I thought I must make a video to portray to people, or the rest of the world, what happened to me, what explanation there is, or if anybody, any medical expertise people can try it out, or play with it, or run with it, or do what they want with it. I'm welcome. I welcome it, because I feel that if they can refine this, then they may save a lot of people being put on ventilators. That way they'll save a lot of hospital beds. They'll save a lot of distress and for a lot of people, and they may save quite a few lives by it. Now then, that's the reason I've done this today, to do that, so that if it's of any good, then somebody somewhere will take it up and run with it, and if they do, I welcome that. And so that's my best wish, and I hope it comes to something. If you subscribe to my button, if you've got anything to add, subscribe to my channel, and you can put a comment on my web page, my page for this particular video, and we can take it from there if you like. But if I don't hear from anybody, and then anybody takes it up, well, that will be good news for me, and I wish all the best to you all, and good luck.